We start the prophetical books with the words of Amos. The prophetical books of what they call the Old Testament. Tanakh never was listed as the Old Testament, and according to the New Testament, Plahrose, Jesus came to restore things, so it wasn't like it was a New Testament, according to what the Bible has Jesus say. Afford the most complete refutation to be found in any literature of the art for art's sake's heresy. 4. They contain undeniably sublime poetry, which is also undeniably inspired by a moral purpose. The message of all the great literary prophets is alike in its unrelenting hostility to any compromise with the lax moral customs of the surrounding paganisms, in its insistence upon the monotheistic worship of God through righteousness rather than through ceremonial, and in its constant proletarian protest against the injustice of the ruling class. Prophecies of the approaching doom of the whole political and social order are so recurrent as to become worrisome to a modern reader. But since this doom was actually fulfilled, the prophets must be acknowledged to have read the signs of the times correctly. And with all this community of purpose among them, there were still great individual differences of personality and literary style. The characteristic of Hebrew poetry, well, Tanakh is in Aramea, according to what they called the language, but at the time, of being based upon parallelism of phrase instead of upon meter, made it easy to pass back and forth from prose to verse, a liberty used by the prophet so extensively that there are as many borderline cases of passages that almost equally well may almost equally well be regarded as verse or as a rhythmical prose. The first of the new school, Amos, is it Amos? The herdsman of Tekoa, writing between 765 and 750 BCE, caught from his native southern mountains the rugged grandeur and simplicity, bursting in like a moral thunderbolt upon the merry feast at Beital in the northern kingdom. He nevertheless intuitively followed the most approved method of rhetorical persuasion in opposing his discourse with the pronouncement of doom upon successive neighboring peoples, and then slowly, as it were, inevitably narrowing the circle to include the company before him. In spite of this tactful beginning, it is not surprising that before his message was finished, there was demand that he be deported as an alien incendiary back to the southern kingdom, there to eat bread and prophesy there, and to prophesy not again any more in Beital. Well, even back then, influence could spread, right? The words of Amos, who was among the herdsmen of Tekoa, which he saw concerning Yisrael, is it Tekoa or Tekoa? Which he saw concerning Yisrael in the days of Uzziah, king of Yehuda, and in the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Yisrael, 2 years before the earthquake. The Lord will roar from Zion, and Zion TZYWN. The Lord will roar from Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the habitations of the shepherds shall mourn, and the top of Carmel shall wither. Thus saith God as a noun and verb, for 3 transgressions of Damascus, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they have threshed Gilead with the threshing instruments of iron. But I will send a fire unto the house of Hazal, which shall devour the palaces of Ben-Hadad. I will break also the bar of Damascus, and cut off the inhabitants from the plain of Awen, and him that holdeth the scepter from the house of Edom. And the people of Syria shall go into captivity unto Kir, saith God as a noun and verb, for 3 transgressions of Gaza, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof. Because they carried away captive the whole captivity to deliver them unto Edom. But I will send a fire on the wall of Gaza, which shall devour the palaces thereof, and I will cut off the inhabitants from Ashdod, and him that holdeth the scepter from Ashkelon. And I will turn mine hand against Ekron, and the remnant of the Palestinim shall perish, saith God as noun and verb. God. Thus saith God as noun and verb, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom, and I remembered not brotherly covenant. But I will send a fire on the wall of Tyrus, which shall devour the palaces thereof. Thus saith God as noun and verb, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. But I will send fire upon Taman, which shall devour the palaces of Basra. Thus saith God as a noun and verb, for 3 transgressions of the children of Ammon, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they have ripped up the women with the child of Gilead, that they might enlarge their border. In the Islamic tradition, those who fight to extend borders are cursed by God. But I will kindle a fire in the wall of Rabbah, and it shall devour the palaces thereof, with shouting in the day of battle, with a tempest in the day of the whirlwind. And their king shall go into captivity, he and his princes together, saith God as noun and verb. Thus saith God as noun and verb, for 3 transgressions of Moab, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he burned the bones of the king of Edom into lime. But I will send fire upon Moab, and it shall devour the palaces of Kerioth. And Moab shall die with tumult, for shouting, and with the sound of trumpets, and I will cut off the judge from the midst thereof, and I will slay all the princes thereof with him, saith God as a noun and verb. Thus saith God as a noun and verb, for 3 transgressions of Yehuda, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they have despised the law of God as noun and verb, and have not kept his commandments, and their lies caused them to err, after which their fathers have walked. Yeah, don't merely follow the traditions of your parents. But I will send a fire upon Yehuda, and it shall devour the palaces of Jerusalem. Thus saith God as a noun and verb, for 3 transgressions of Yisrael, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they sold the righteous for silver, and the poor for a pair of shoes, that pant after the dust of the earth on the head of the poor, and turn aside the way of the meek. And a man and his father will go in unto the same maid to profane my holy name. Even if you're not, even if the marriage, don't marry your son's children or your father, don't marry your parents' spouse after they divorce, or don't marry your child's spouse after they divorce. And we're getting something else probably implied here. And don't uncover your modesty in front of your parents or your children. That will fix part of that issue. And they lay themselves down upon clothes laid to pledge to every altar, and they drank the wine of the condemned in the house of their what they considered to be their god. Yet destroyed I the Amorim before them, whose height was like the height of the cedars, and he was strong as the oaks. Yet I destroyed his fruit from above, and his roots from beneath. And I also brought you up from the land of Egypt, and led you 40 years through the wilderness to possess the land of the Amorim. And I raised up of your sons for prophets, and of your young men for Nazarim. Is it not even thus, O you children of Yashral, saith God as noun and verb, but ye gave the Nazarim wine to drink, and commanded the prophets, saying, Prophesy not. Behold, I am pressed under you, as a cart is pressed that is full of sheaves, of wheat. Well, there's other grains too, but therefore the flight shall perish from the swift, and the strong shall not strengthen his force, neither shall the mighty deliver himself, neither shall he stand that handleth the bow, and he that is swift of foot shall not deliver himself, neither shall he that rideth the horse deliver himself. And he that is courageous among the mighty shall flee away naked in that day, saith God as a noun and verb. Hear this word, that God as a noun and verb hath spoken. Hear this word. That God as a noun and verb hath spoken against you, O children of Yashral, against the whole family which I have brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore will I punish you for all your iniquities. It's better to pay for things in this life than have things carry on to your eternal account, right? Can two walk together except they be agreed? Will a lion roar in the forest when he hath no prey? Will a young lion cry out of his den if he have taken nothing? Can a bird fall in a snare upon the earth where no den is for him? Shall one take up a snare from the earth and have nothing at all? Shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people be not afraid? Shall there be evil in a city, and God in a noun and verb hath not done it? Well, if it's evil, but negativity, God's created the possibility of negativity. What's the word they're using? Evil. Because God doing evil doesn't make any sense. Surely, God has noun and verb. God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets. Well, okay, then God's not about fear and evil and okay. The lion hath roared. Who will not fear? God is noun and verb. God hath spoken. Who can but prophesy? Publish in the palaces of Ashdod, and in the palaces in the land of Egypt, and say, Assemble yourselves upon the mountains of Samaria, and behold great tumults in the midst thereof, and the oppressed in the midst thereof, for they know not to do right, saith God as noun and verb, who store up violence and robbery in their palaces. Therefore, thus saith God as noun and verb, God, an adversary there shall be even round about the land, and he shall bring down thy strength from thee, and thy palaces shall be spoiled. Thus saith God as noun and verb. When it says Lord God, is it saying Yahweh Al-He? So God is noun and verb, your God. Thus saith the Lord. Well, again, Lord's not a right translation for the Tetragrammaton. I don't think it really renders as a possibility of a literal translation. Yeah, no, it doesn't. As the shepherd taketh out of the mouth of the lion 2 legs or a piece of an ear, so shall the children of Yisrael be taken that dwell in Samaria, in the corner of a bed, and in Damascus, and a couch. Hear ye and testify in the house of Jacob, saith God as noun and verb, God, the God of hosts. Yahweh the spout is God of hosts. That in the days I shall visit the transgressions of Yisrael upon him, I will also visit the altars of Bethel, and the horns of the altar shall be cut off and fall to the ground, and I will smite the winter house with the summer house. And I will smite the winter house with the summer house, and the house of ivory shall perish, and the great houses shall have an end, saith God as noun and verb. Hear this word, ye kine of Bashan. Hear this word, ye kine of Bashan, that are in the mountains of Samaria, which oppress the poor, which crush the needy, which say to their masters, Bring and let us drink. God is noun and verb. Your God hath sworn by his holiness, that lo, the days shall come upon you that he will take you away with the hooks. Or is it Yahweh Elohim? I'm not sure what they intend by their translation, but and your posterity with fish hooks, and ye shall go out at the breaches, every cow at that which is before her, and ye shall cast them into the palace, saith God as noun and verb. Come to Bethel, and transgress. At Gilgal multiply transgression, and bring your sacrifices every morning, and your tithes after 3 years, and offer a sacrifice of thanksgiving with leaven, and proclaim and publish the free offerings. For this liketh you, O children of Yisrael, saith God as a noun and verb, your God. And I also have given you cleanness of teeth in all your cities, and want of bread in all your places. Yet have ye not returned unto me, saith God as a noun and verb. And also I have withheld the rain from you, when there were yet 3 months to the harvest, and I caused it to rain upon one city, and I caused it not to rain upon another city. One piece was rained upon, and the piece wherewith it rained not withered. So 2 or 3 cities wandered unto one city to drink water, but they were not satisfied. Yet have ye not returned unto me, saith God as a noun and verb. I have smitten you with blasting and mildew, when your gardens and your vineyards and your fig trees and your olive trees increase. The palmer worm, the palmer worm devoured them. Yet have ye not returned unto me, saith God as a noun and verb. I have sent among you the pestilence after the manner of Egypt. Your young men have I slain with the sword, and have taken away your horses, and I have made the stink of your camps to come up unto your nostrils. Yet have ye not returned unto me, saith God as a noun and verb. I have overthrown some of you, as God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, and ye were as a firebrand plucked out from the burning. Yet have ye not returned unto me, saith God as a noun and verb. Therefore, thus will I do unto thee, O Yisrael. And because I will do this unto thee, prepare to meet thy God, O Yisrael. For, lo, he that formeth the mountains, and createth the wind, and declareth unto men what is his thought, that maketh the morning darkness, and treadeth upon the high places of the earth. God is noun and verb. The God of hosts is his name. Hear ye this word which I take up against you. Hear ye this word which I take up against you, even a lamentation, O house of Yisrael. The virgin of Yisrael is fallen. She shall no more rise. She is forsaken upon her land. There is none to raise her up. For thus saith God as a noun and verb. God, the city that went out by 1,000 shall leave 100, and that which went forth by 100 shall leave 10 to the house of Yisrael. Seek ye me, and ye shall live. Thus saith God as noun and verb unto the house of Yisrael. Seek ye me, and ye shall live. But seek not Betal, nor enter the Gilgal, and pass not Beersheba. For Gilgal shall surely go into captivity, and Betal shall come to naught. Seek God as noun and verb, and ye shall live, lest he break out like fire, and the house of Yusuf, and devour it, and there be none to quench it, and Betal. Ye who turn judgment to wormwood, and leave off righteousness in the earth, seek him that maketh the 7 stars. Well, depending on your vision, you see more. I think I've used to see 11 if if you're far enough away from the cities, like that dark spot in eastern Oregon between Pendleton and LeGrand, and there's other on the way to Eugene that's pretty dark too, that you can see 11 stars, and there's actually over 100. I don't remember how many stars there are, but I don't know of people seeing more than 12 though. But 7's more usual of the Pleiades. And Orion, and turneth the shadow of death into the morning, and maketh the day dark with night. Now, when it mentions astrological things, there's further meaning. When it mentions something astronomical, you find other meaning associated with it, right? That calleth for the waters of the sea, and poureth them out upon the face of the earth. God as a noun and verb is his name. Wailing shall be in all streets. God is noun and verb, the God of hosts. The Lord, are they saying Aduni? Because sometimes they're going to say Aduni. Saith thus, wailing shall be in all the streets, and they shall say in all the highways, Alas, alas, and they shall call the husbandman to mourning, and such as are skillful of lamentation to wailing, and in all the vineyards shall be wailing, for I will pass Through thee, saith God as noun and verb, woe unto you that desire the day of God as noun and verb. To what end is it for you? The day of God as noun and verb is darkness and not light, as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear meet him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. Shall not the day of God as noun and verb be darkness and not light, even very dark, and no brightness in it? I despise your feast days. Yeah, it's not just outer observances, particularly if they don't affect the rest of life. And I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them, neither will I regard the peace offering of your fat beasts. Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melody of thy viols, but let judgment run down as waters, and righteousness as a mighty stream. Woe to them that are at ease in Zion. And Zion, the shining landmark, you want to set a good example. That's the importance of biblical Zionism. Woe to them that are at ease in Zion, and trust in the mountains of Samaria, which are named chief of the nations. So jihad, 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 right? To whom the house, struggle, do what's right when it's difficult, that sort of stuff. To whom the house of Yisrael came, pass ye unto Calneh and see, and from thence go ye to Hamath the great. Then go down to Gath of the Palestinian. Be they better than these kingdoms? Are their border greater than your border? Ye that put far away the evil day, and cause the seat of violence to come near, that lie upon the beds of ivory, and stretch themselves upon their couches, and eat the lambs out of the flock, and the calves out of the midst of the stall, that chant to the sound of the viol, and invent to themselves the instruments of music, like Dawood, that drink wine in bowls, and anoint themselves with the chief ointments, but they are not grieved for the affliction of Yusuf. Therefore now shall they go captive with the first that go captive, and the banquet of them that stretcheth themselves shall be